I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Chance to go through the minutes.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion on minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Did everybody have a chance to look over the claims?
Yeah.
Move to approve. Dan, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we got the annexation first up.
This annexation was considered at the last meeting. Annexations are somewhat unique in that you can't suspend the rules of tacit all in one fell swoop. Unless there has been some change or some new information, and I am aware of none, all that is necessary is that the annexation petition be approved on second reading.
Move to approve. Steve? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, approved. I'll submit a confirming resolution for the record, and that's that.
Thank you. Progress on Greeny Building.
Actually, I talked to both of the appraisers yesterday. They are, one of them, well, the two appraisers are Mike Lady and Nick Tillema, both highly qualified. I told you that before. What I've said is get in touch with Elaine for access to the building. The lady's office called me today with some questions, which I was able to answer in the main. There are two parcels there, I believe. It's split in two parcels.
Just one person. We want to split it.
Okay, well, then that's something we need to clarify, because I know how it's laid out a little bit, so. Mike Lady's firm, which is Integra, they're gonna send a formal proposal. That appraisal will be about $3,200. And I suspect that the second will be in the same neighborhood. What the appraisers can do, and I think this is efficient, is they can submit a joint report where they, thank you, come to a consensus on value. So, you know, they're talking about, they looked at the railroad tracks, so can you define for my education what, I think it runs all the way back to the line where your pointer is, correct? Yeah, that's what you intend to convey. Now, what is the parcel?
We want. It's the only parcel we want.
Everything else is in town.
Yeah, okay. So, if someone has the last vesting deed from when the town acquired was, it would be helpful.
I'll get with more.
Okay, so,
You said the deed?
yep. Well, then I think what they were looking at, they were doing some research and they must have seen the other parcel, so,
The one that runs along
It goes
on back to Asbury
Asbury
Yeah.
Road.
Road, yeah, it's a
It's the
lane.
rest of that.
yeah, okay.
Perhaps you
You
need
shoot that picture for me by chance? Thank you.
to.
So, I suspect we'll have appraisals fairly soon. Then, once appraisals are in hand, we have to go through the notice process, open the property for bids. We can define, to a degree, the scope of bids that would be acceptable.
But how long into this process might,
60 days.
60 days?
after the appraisal.
And how long do you think they'll have appraisals, like within a week or? next
I
meeting?
can't speak to that. I think it won't be a week, but I don't think it's gonna be, any great period of time.
Okay.
That's all I have on.
So Morgan needs to be looking for the contract to be able to move.
Pardon me?
Does Morgan need to have it signed for the contract?
One, they're gonna send it to me and I'll circulate it. I mean, it's just it's an engagement letter, so it's, and Philoma's outfit hasn't mentioned it, so.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on
Cranny building for me.
that? New business? Vicky Meyer, Sherry Ellison,
You're not here.
not here? Okay. Clerk treasurer, not here. Legal,
You have in your packets, a question was posed to me in the last meeting, is the registration ordinance that the state has concerning registering rental properties valid? And the answer is yes, it is. I probably told you more than you wanted to know in my memorandum, but it's consistent with state statute. Why some people say, oh, these aren't valid, is there was an Indiana Supreme Court case that's fairly recent, 2019, and I gave you a copy of it. I know you'll enjoy reading it. Basically, a subsequent related legislation was deemed to be unconstitutional because it was found to be special legislation in that the state capped the registration at $5. And then Bloomington lobbied and got legislation passed and said, we want to charge more, we want to charge whatever we can. And that was passed and ultimately struck down. So your ordinance is valid and can be enforced. If you want me to continue legal, things are salting out in the General Assembly, and I should have a fairly comprehensive report where things stand predominantly on legislation affecting property taxes. Still much debate on that.
good. That it?
Yes.
Debbie,
Yes.
you want to come up?
The reason for my, I've had a couple of complaints from one of my neighbors, Tim Stratton. I have cats at my house. Some of them are mine. There's about 12 of them. 6 of them are mine. 6 are just strays that have come to my house. He's made some pretty drastic threats. I don't know if there's a town ordinance of how many cats you can have around your house or not. He's made some false allegations against me. The cats have been there for several years. He basically said that they're destroying his trash, which I've never known of a cat getting in trash, plus our trash is supposed to be in the barrel. He threatened to drain the antifreeze and put antifreeze out so that he would kill the cats. He took 2 of my cats to the shelter. I went down and I got them. One was our cat, one was a feral cat, and as I tried to get him out of the cage, he scratched me, and my hand swelled, and I had to get antibiotics to fix it. He's made some pretty bad comments. He sent me a courtesy call on a message, which I had copies, but they've not been put in the right order that I wanted you to have so that you could read over them to see what I'm talking about, basically. I don't know what the ordinance is in town. I'm not the only one that feeds feral cats. He claims that he's going to come up to my porch and remove the bowls. He's made the threat of taking them all to the shelter. He's threatened with the antifreeze. Basically, he's been belligerent. I don't appreciate it. I have been working with the outreach program to help get them spayed and neutered. I've got 4 of them already scheduled for this Saturday. They are helping taking care of their shots, which I keep trying to get things properly taken care of as far as that's concerned. I've been working with them with kittens that were born, of them taking them, giving them shots, giving them the medicines that they need to make sure that they're safe for adoption, and they've been adopting those kitties out. I don't know what the plan is for the town as far as where my rights are or no rights or however rights. I know there's others in town that that is doing the same thing that I'm doing, not trying to point the fingers at them. I'm not gonna name any names, but they do treat and feed. The way that Harold and I do it is we put plates out with their wet food and some dry food in the morning and in the night. But when they're done, the plates are clean. I take the plates in, I don't feed them all day. I do the same thing at night. I take the trays back in. So it's not like we're feeding everybody all day long, or other animals come up in the night. So Tim has known this for a long time. And I don't know why all of a sudden he's decided to take it on himself, and he's made claims that our other neighbor that lives behind us had an inflatable hot tub that he claims that one of our cats poked a hole in and damaged it and ruined it. I don't know anything about hot tubs. I don't know anything about a hot tub inflatable, but common sense for me, and I could be wrong, but I don't see how a cat could poke a hole through something that I would think would be more sturdy than just a blow-up pool that you put up for your children, which I could see a cat poking a hole through something like that. But I don't know. But I would think that if my neighbor behind me had that issue or had that problem, he would have come to me. But I have heard nothing from anybody, at any time complain about the cats until 4 days ago. So that's what I'm dealing with, and I don't appreciate him threatening me about the cat by putting antifreeze. That's a pretty strong allegation that he would try that, and now I don't trust him. I count the kittens, I don't have kittens. I count the cats in the morning, and I count the cats at night. And I didn't put anything on Facebook until he took my cats away. Because Harold and I are pretty calm. We pretty much don't pay attention to what others say. But when he kept threatening me to come on my property and telling me that this has been brought up at the town council many times, and I've never heard from anybody. I don't know if it's been brought up here, and if it has, nobody's notified me. So I feel like I'm stuck in a situation that I don't know I don't know what he's talking about. So if it has been brought up, I don't know, nobody's come to me. So I guess that's the issue.
There have been complaints before brought up before the board
There
about
have,
cat, not anyone specifically, but cats in general,
right?
that there's a large number of them running around.
Mhm.
We have an animal, it's an ordinance regarding animals.
Uh-huh,
And you might want to take a look at it.
Okay.
If you want to give it, you have this.
yes,
This gives you the kind of the guidelines of what you're supposed to follow through.
okay,
As a town, we're pretty lax, I do have to say on that. Cats and dogs running around, that's a problem.
there's a lot of dogs that get off
I
leashes.
said
and
cats
not
and
care.
dogs running around, it's a problem, and it needs to be addressed. If we can bring it to someone's attention, okay, great.
Mhm,
You know, we appreciate you coming in and talking to us about,
mhm,
concerns, but as an owner, you've got your responsibilities too. And other than that, it sounds like you got a personal intervention between you and your neighbor.
I never had before.
Yeah,
Man, I don't understand.
Do you own 4?
Excuse me?
Do you own 4?
Yeah, yes, I do.
okay.
This will tell you what you need to do.
Here?
That gives you all the guidelines, what the town
So you knew
requires.
all about this before I came in?
We knew that someone was coming in about cats.
So,
So that's just out of our book.
yeah,
So that's to help you out.
Okay,
That's to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. So use that to further remedy any other issues you have with cats or dogs.
right, right.
Wild birds, whatever it is.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
and go from there. But
Okay.
that's our ordinance on it.
Okay, now, what do I do about his threats? Do I file a police report against him? Because I don't appreciate this. I lost my son a year ago today. Today is not a good day.
Nope, wouldn't
As
be.
far as I'm concerned, what he's put me through in the last 4 days has not been good for my health.
I understand.
And I don't appreciate what he's doing, and I've never had a problem out of him for the last, I've had these cats for a long time. And I can't tell you what I've gone through. And if you know Harold, he loves the cats, and that's okay. I'll do whatever we need to do. I have no problem with that. But if I have to file a report against him, I will, because I don't like his threats. I don't want him on my property. I don't want anything to do with him, and I flat out told him that in a text. He blocked me, which is the best interest for me, because some of the things he said in remarks back to my post were not kind. And I never one time went back with him other than a firm answer. Some of you probably seen the text. But the fact of the matter is, if it's my problem, I'll take care of it. But somebody's gonna have to take care of his problem. If I have to see Brad, I will. I'll file a report right now. I don't even know if Brad's here.
Red line.
Who? There you go. Because anybody, I don't know who you are, that would threaten to put antifreeze out for an animal is not a very good human being. As far as I'm concerned, none of you would want that to happen to your animal. If it got off your leash, you were walking your dog, or just got out of the fence, and somebody has antifreeze around like that, none of us would be very happy with that. But he flat out threatened to do it, and threatened to come on my porch and remove bowls, which we don't even use bowls. We don't keep it out all day or all night. So, to me, that's a threat towards me and my husband and the livelihood of the cats. So, I will follow this policy.
We can't advise on what you do legally or what you don't do legally. I think you need to follow your heart and proceed with
Right.
what you need to proceed with.
I'm gonna make a report right now.
Not right now.
After we get done.
I don't know how this works, I wanted to speak to the cat issue in Morristown.
Is this, Carrie?
I'm Animal Outreach of Shelby County.
This is who I
I don't know
work
if I talk now or if I talk later.
Come on up.
This is who I work with.
Okay, Morristown has a serious cat problem, and I'm honestly kind of tired of it. Anytime somebody's looking for a free kitten, they'll post it on the Morristown page, and 20 people will say, I have kittens, I have kittens, I have kittens. And I'm Animal Outreach of Shelby County. We offer free spay-neuter for free roaming, unowned stray cats throughout all of Shelby County. There's no reason for people to be feeding outside cats without getting them fixed. They'll get fixed, they get vaccinated, and their left ear is tipped so that animal control, police, neighbors know that the cats are spayed and neutered already. The reason why it's called trap, neuter, return, so we trap the cats in humane traps. We take them to the vet clinic, they get them spayed and neutered, vaccinated, and ear tipped, and then they're returned back to their outside home. The cats are generally not adoptable because they're unsocialized to people, so they're not appropriate to go to the shelter. So what, and she's right, there's lots of people in Morristown that have feral cats that they feed that they have trap, neuter, returned already. Their colonies are stabilized, they don't grow anymore. As a matter of fact, some of them are getting smaller as the years go on because they're not having kittens year after year, so that helps enormously. And it really does help the shelter to not have to take in cats that they can't do anything with. I mean, it's not fair to the staff to get stuck with unsocialized cats. What are they supposed to do with them? So we actually started with Vicky last fall. We took, I should have looked this up before I came, but I came straight from work. I think we took 6 kittens last year. We got a few of the cats fixed. One of the cats was very ill, and so one of our fosters took the cat nursed it back to health, got them neutered, vaccinated, and then returned them back to the outside home. And so we started that last fall, and then of course the winter came, and we generally don't trap in the winter because it's not safe for the cats. And so this is the first opportunity that we've had to be able to resume activities there. So we are starting with, we're covering the whole county plus Decatur County because we expanded into Decatur County. So we are limited on how many we can do at once on any one property. And so we do have 4 to 6 slated for this Saturday. And then we'll just continue doing that until all the cats are spayed or neutered. The nice thing about getting them spayed and neutered is that there's no more kittens, obviously. There's no fighting. Nobody wants to hear cat fights at night. I know I don't. I like to have my windows open. I like to enjoy the fresh air. I don't like to hear cat fights, and so it cuts down on that. And it does cut down on the roaming because they're not going to go 3 blocks over so that they can find a girl to, have babies with. So it does cut down on the roaming. So generally, once the cats are spayed and neutered, they stay within 4 to 5 house lengths as a general rule. So it really does stabilize that population in that area. And there are people in Morristown that have done this. So
Where are you located?
I'm in Shelbyville.
Yeah. Where?
Well, we're foster-based, so we don't have like a shelter or anything like that. But we do have an administrative office, but it's not open to the public. So. But it's over on Miller Avenue, over by Builder's Hardware. So, and so we have lots of traps that we loan people. We use a clinic in Greensburg. There's 3 vets that come in on a Saturday to spay and neuter between 50 and 75 cats in one afternoon. So it's a pretty, and then the rest of it is staffed with volunteers. So we did get a grant from Decatur County Community Foundation. We've been funded by Blue River before, 9 Star. So we are well established. We've been around for 15 years, and we are financially stable. So, but
Is there a number we can give out?
Yeah, there is. I'm gonna give you a little packet.
Okay.
But I do post on the Morristown pages as often as I can. It's hard because I'm covering 2 counties, but we do try. But we try to get the word out there as much as we can to get people to, if you feed it, you should fix it. And there's no excuse for it. It's on a Saturday. Most people have the day off. You can transport the cat back and forth, and it's free. It doesn't cost you a darn dime. So, and then I do know that the ordinances in Morristown is 4 dogs or 4 cats. I think that's what I read. While our organization is not in favor of animal limits, we're more in favor of care guidelines. Because somebody could have 1 dog and they treat it like total crap, or they could have 5 dogs and they do very well by them. So I'm not super crazy about that. But the key difference between owning a cat and having it as your own house cat and the general population or the citizens feeding outdoor cats. Those are 2 very different cat populations, and there's different strategies for managing them. And so we really focus on outdoor cats is what we focus on. So we would encourage you guys, if you're serious about wanting to get the outdoor cat population under control in Morristown, I would strongly encourage you to pass a very specific ordinance on what the standards are for people who are feeding outside cats and what the expectations are for spay neuter for outside cats. Nothing drives me crazier than me trying to convince somebody to get the outdoor cats fixed, and I have no backbone. I have no enforcement. I have nothing to be able to say to this person, well, you have to do this or you're going to get cited, because there's nothing for me to point to. So that would be helpful from our standpoint as well. So.
I don't see any limitation on the number of cats or dogs in that ordinance.
Well, I saw for, but yeah, I could be wrong.
It says $1 per registration.
Yeah, I did see that.
$1 per each.
My contact information is on here. And this is just a nice guide that a state organization put together for municipalities, specifically on community cats. So what I would encourage you guys to do is let Vicki continue doing what she's doing. Let's get that all straightened out. We'll continue to work with other people in Morristown as they want. But then I would also invite you to sit down with us and start figuring out what kind of ordinance we want for community cats in Morristown, so that we can all be on the same page and we can all have a plan and a goal for what direction we want to go in Morristown. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, Brad?
So, right off the bat, as of tomorrow, be Josh's first day. This is your candidate that you decided to hire. So this is Josh Carlton. He'll be starting tomorrow evening, and we'll be on regular shift after that. So we'll be back to, we're going to double our department size in one day. Pretty substantial. A lot of departments can't say that. As far as chief school that's coming up, I did contact the academy, and I was able to pay for that with credits, so it's not going to cost us anything as far as the class. All we have to pay for is the hotel, which is going to be $420.85, which is essentially what you pay to go to most training anyway, so it's not going to be too bad of a deal. I emailed out the SRO final cost breakdown from the superintendent to everyone. And so currently the salary was at $74,000, FICA was $5,661, health benefit was $13,944, pension or the retirement was $2,640 for a total of $96,245. If we agree to this, Shelby Eastern will pay 70%, which is $67,371.50, and the town would pay $28,873.50. And then the contract has been emailed to the liaisons. They have that, and that is what the superintendent and I have kind of traded back information back and forth. So that's where that one's at right now.
That looks good. I mean, we're looking at a 70-30 split there.
You guys all right there?
I'm fine with it. I'll make a motion that we sign a contract with SES.
In a second. Any other discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
So with that being said, are we, as far as the liaisons, I don't know, have you looked over it? Did you see anything that sticks out?
Nothing stuck out at me.
You had some changes that you wanted in terms of scope and control.
Yep.
Those all been
Yeah,
made.
those are in there. The only question that we really had is just, we kind of need to work out is that instead of using current part-time officers, if the SRO is on vacation or on a day off, they want us to supply the officer to fill that vacancy, which is something I think we need to work out, because we were going to have to make that officer's shift, or we're going to have to pay overtime. So that would be something we need to work out. I think it's
How's it
really,
done now?
right now it's just off-duty officers that work there.
And they pay them currently.
Yep. So that was, my original thought was that if the officer wasn't there, we would just go back to that, and they would just pay an hourly fee to whatever officer is working, that day. But I think that's something we need to work out. Superintendent's willing to meet with us and sit down and finalize those things. As long as we're good with everything else, really, I think that was the only outstanding issue. We just need to clarify that.
We're not gonna pay somebody overtime to cover absence,
So,
so they need to get Shelbyville. I mean, if they got the sheriff's in it now unpaid, they keep that going.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the change is.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
School
it's,
just pays them.
yeah, they're paid out of the corporation, so it wouldn't be a big change. It would just,
Yeah.
they would just, I mean, and we're talking few years, I mean, few days a year, sicknesses or training or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna, I think some we just need to discuss why we're coming up with this and what we're saying, just so it's clarified.
I'd say get that question answered and clarified, and then have a final decision. But other than that, I didn't see anything in with the changes that were concerning.
Good to me. What's the timetable on starting?
So that is, they have the applicants, they have that information, so once we say yes to this, then the ball is essentially in their court. They do not have the hiring packets, but they have all the information for those officers that we chose to move on to that.
But that's what we're going for.
But it's our final decision.
Yes.
who we hire.
Yep, we're giving them 2 applicants. They're gonna make their decision out of those 2 applicants. They come back to us to say, yes, we have no issue with that.
And those 2 applicants were okay with being moved on in that process?
Yep.
I figured they would be, but.
Yep, they were notified. One of them has caught a little bit of flack from being in the process, but hopefully we can get this moving on and solve that issue for him. Barrel was ordered for the rifle. I had to get a Windows license for Josh's desktop today, same issue that happened with mine when I changed out the motherboards. Had to do that today. And then Ralph wanted me to get a power washer for the police base, so I went to pick that up today. It's all been turned in. That's all I got.
Thank you, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Okay, water, we're gonna start patching the streets and do that, which may be towards the end of the month.
That's their season?
That's
Your season? When they start up?
It's gonna be later up here because we sold the plants.
Oh, okay.
Fire department, guys.
We had 2 interviews on Monday. We are gonna call one, and, but we're gonna check references and such, so we should by the next meeting. Yeah.
Good.
How's the budget? Makes sense?
Like the paramedics, what you?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Really?
both of them were,
Both of them.
they're both very good candidates,
Yeah.
excellent. Also, I did talk to Morgan today. She was able to get numbers from Greg, but obviously she's not here tonight, so she'll bring those to the next meeting for the contract.
Those what she emailed us
Yeah,
to.
Yeah, we've got an email.
There was an email with them, I reviewed that.
More fire protection. It's in essence, it's a 60-40 split, basically. It's 58-41.
Just round it to 60/40.
Just call it 60-40. The township pays the 40, we pay the 58 on it. Basically, after the assessed value and the formula, it says town should pay 58.63 of the total fire budget, the township should pay 41.3%, 41.37% of the budget. And then they want to phase it in. I'm not sure about how that phasing in works. Wish I could forward this to you all.
How she explained it is they want to phase it in where it increases, as it grows, so. But she said Greg would be happy to talk to Charles if he needs any.
Says the total amount for 2025, wait a minute, is that the total budget? Summary of total 25 budget funds for the 20, it's 364,225, which does not include any costs or capital items.
That's the total for both.
Right. So yeah, just say 60-40 to make it easy to read.
If you can be available, that's a day.
Today's the 9th.
Right. In a couple of weeks, towards the end of the month, Charles wants to have a meeting, a combined meeting again. They want to get rid of the trucks and buy one truck. And they give me a price of that one truck. It's going to be about 8 to 10, he said, and the prices he's getting from everybody.
For that van?
No?
The van?
Yeah. He said he's got one price from Salem Brothers, Charlie Walnut, he's
And
getting
you
about.
brothers.
Huh?
And you brothers.
Yeah.
Steve will be able to give one Russell.
He said he has to get those prices to do that, so. But he said at that time, he should have a contract put together too, so we're looking over.
Yeah, just buzzing.
So I just don't know when and where, I just know we got 2 days notice, so I told him, so.
Trying to get it set up so we can move, we're going to move along.
Anything else? Fire. Oh, there's a packet here for this fire station from T&W. We haven't had any.
Well, getting around. The other one here. I'll make
So
a
they're the
motion.
only ones that have come out and looked at it?
No?
Oh, okay.
We got a quote on another one, maybe I showed up to fix it.
Oh. Grandma? Really? Well, if these guys will come out and do it, we gotta get it done, we'll lose the face of this place.
So,
I'll make a motion to go with T&W.
I'll second that.
any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Did they say how soon they can get on it? You know?
All I have is
Christine,
that.
let me know who's abstaining from the vote. There's really not a conflict, but I don't want it to look like there's a conflict.
Another question, just to kill two birds with one stone. These doors are rusted out on the fire station. Yeah, they're rusted through. So it needs doors. I mean,
One contractor said they were inside doors, not outside doors. Because the water runs right down the glass inside the door.
Inside the door. So, let's get some prices.
Some contacts?
Cord Brothers is giving us one. And also Dodds Hall, the lower part needs a roof on. They're giving us a price on that. They're the only ones that would come out and look at the, patch the holes on the other one for now, so. We'll see what theirs is and then get some more prices if we want to.
but it's something we need to do.
Oh, yeah.
Elaine has their contract, their official, original contract in a folder over there.
So everybody's good with that?
Yep.
Okay.
Clark. We got the pickleball courts pretty much laid out. Decided to go with a green border with a blue field to play the game on. We'll have, with what we can do, it looks like we can pave from one end to the other to the field, to the court, which will help with mowing and access, and be able to sit, whatever, and still be well within budget, plus the fence. So, this one we looked into really well. And the biggest problem right now is the ground being dry enough to be able to scrape and do, because it's a mess right now. So don't be in a hurry for April. We had them back off, our farmer had them back off 25 rows back to start. We'll let that fill in. He can disc it down level, but we'll let that fill in.
Be planning for grass, maybe?
Maybe. It will let that fill in. We can start this long-term project, but maybe that would be some extra parking for our derby days. You know, I'm saying maybe 2 years down the road, but we'll have something there to use.
The county just announced they're giving wildflower seeds out through one of the offices, so we could even sow it in wildflowers in so many rows, and you can get some stuff through parks and for rehabilitation and stuff like that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Maybe a quarter or two between the field and that.
Well, it's gonna be a while before he gets it out there.
Yeah, everything out there's wet.
Yes, it is. Not as wet as Freeport though.
We did have water within about 20 feet of the back of our house, coming down the hill into that front lot. It was all the way up to our fence.
Well,
State's had it and watched it online.
That kind of goes in the revitalization.
okay. We're done?
Miscellaneous?
Hey, I got something miscellaneous real quick.
There you go.
So I went to the Morristown redevelopment partnership that Deb Kraft and Dee Dee Allender and all them that do all the grants and stuff last night. Well, they had elections last night, so they're slimming their board down. We had the president step down. So Dee Dee Allender is now president. Deb Kraft is Deb Kraft is treasurer, and Lisa is secretary. So they asked me, because they couldn't be here tonight, they just said, you're always at these things. The planners, they no longer can really take care of them with them being slimmed down. So it's whatever you guys want to do, they want me to let you guys be aware. They were really not doing anything with the planners. So That way y'all know.
Well, thanks.
Yep, just to give you guys a heads up. And then in July, they're gonna have, their next meeting is gonna be in July. They're gonna talk about the new, probably Main Street Morristown, like their new vision. So one of y'all wanna sneak in there and
Okay.
let them know what's going on?
Is that
So,
June? You said?
Thank you.
July.
July? Oh,
It'll be
July.
like the second Tuesday. It's a Tuesday before your guys' first meeting. Yep.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Jimmy.
Daniel.
Thank
Well,
you.
Hey, since you brought that up, some of the planners back there is in really bad
We
shape.
briefly talked about it, didn't we, last time?
But we're pulling, so we just want to pick the best ones we've got and do something with them, or what do you want to do? Those aren't concrete, are they?
I think they're just.
Why don't you just pull them all, set them out back, sort through them, figure out what we want to do with them, get them off the street, because if they start looking crappy, it's going to make town.
That's my
Yeah,
problem.
clean them, let's get them out, have the guys pick them up.
Yeah, pick them up, take them out to the back, we can.
Is it all set down here now?
They're out here, I mean,
Sometimes you're better off not to put them out if you're gonna put something out, looks like crap.
exactly, you can't do it nicely, don't do it.
That's-
And then, I'd say dump the dirt and the crappy ones. That's good soil, just dump it in the pile. If you got some good ones, see how many we got. You gotta know.
Can I just put, date, first one in? See?
Yeah, I mean, that would fall in our green space, would it? I mean, it just, I did look at them one time, and they was taking them out there, and there was,
They're just out here and.
yeah, there was some really bad looking ones.
I'll go up there before we leave tonight and get them.
We'll see what you think, so,
We'll dump it later.
yeah. I thought the trees in them were alive, but they're plastic.
Oops. All right.
Okay, anything else? Move to adjourn.
Larry, all right.
Yeah.